All right, so a couple weeks ago, we had this discussion about who is the most overrated winner in Big Brother history. And we decided we wanted to bring it to you guys, our viewers, on all forms of social media to see what you guys actually had to say about that. We got some very interesting responses, let me tell you. So to recap, Scott, you chose.
Nicole Franzel, and I stand by it into my grave. But the fun part of all this is you know the answers. I do not. So there's going to be a lot of hot takes on here that I'm not going to be happy about.
Yep. And I will let you guess the final two. Actually, no, because I think that might be a dead giveaway. So scratch that. I'm just gonna let it go. All right. So I have ranked these. I went through all of our social media for everybody who has answered us, and I went through and ranked everybody that gave us answers. And so we have a technically top five, but it's top six because there's a couple ties. But this is the top five most overrated Big Brother players, winners, actually, excuse me, according to our fans. So in fifth place, we have a tie. They both are later season. We have Rachel from Big Brother 13, and we have Steve from Big Brother 17.
Um, what?
I knew it. I know, I
Time
know, I
out.
know, I know.
Okay. Okay. So I don't think Steve can be overrated considering I hear negative about him. Like, out of the past 10 Big Brother winners, he's up there for like least heard about. And I understand people probably like
It's really why
talk
they
him
go
up
for it.
because he ended up taking out Vanessa, which I thought was a great game move. But overrated, like, I don't think he classifies as overrated if he doesn't do anything that's overhyped.
I agree.
And then Rachel, are we kidding?
So I do understand where people come from because she was against Portia in the end.
Right, I
And it's
understand
like,
that part,
but does
but
that
it's how
really
she
make you
but it's how
overrated?
she got there.
Yeah. And I
That's
think
that's the aspect I'm looking at.
I would really so a lot of the people that commented Rachel, they didn't really give us much insight into it. The two that like so some people would just comment names, others would like give us some explanation. We didn't really get many explanations for why they thought Steve or Rachel. The only one really for Steve was the comment that you just made. And really it's just for Rachel, I think what drives some people nuts is the whole Brennan and sometimes she can be a little whiny and it's like floaters grab your life vest and like she is very polarizing. I don't know. I see where some people would come from it, but you know me, I wholeheartedly disagree. I'm trying to like play devil's advocate and find ways why I no, but like she won so much. Someone did make a good point that she could have gone out in like I think it was week 6 because of Pandora's box, which is without Pandora's box that wouldn't have happened, which is true. Um I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I just totally
That's the
disagree with
beauty
both of
of the
them, but
game, people. That's the beauty of the game. You can't get upset about a twist changing the game. That's how the game
that's
works.
how a
The
lot of
only
great players
time
have been saved too. So like
like
let's not play there.
like that, because if we're gonna go down that road, I could get very, very bad very quickly. But you know what? I'll let you continue.
All right. So then we have third place. We have another tie. We have a tie between Josh from Big Brother 19, who was my pick, and we had Casey from Big Brother 20. I know you're going to have some thoughts on this one, so I'll let you go first because I can already see you seething. Yes.
All right. So first, Josh, acceptable choice. I respect that choice.
My choice.
Good job, people. Casey, are you kidding me? Did you watch season 20? Okay, so like I don't put her on like a top 10 all-time Big Brother
Oh, no,
list,
no. Absolutely not.
but she's easily in the top 20. Easily.
Yeah,
Listen, just
yeah.
listen, people. She played a spectacular game. She,
I think they're comparing it to Tyler's, and it's that in their mind where it's like she wasn't a
well,
good Tyler.
Tyler's okay. So Tyler's like an all-time player. I understand that, but Casey had to play the game to beat Tyler.
Yep.
And here's what she did. She made relationships. She was nice to everyone from like the first 7 weeks. And then she pretty much won every competition after that
That's
to
where my
close the
issue
show.
comes in is I understand why people would look at it cuz no offense, like I do get why some would say that because of being pitted against Tyler in the final two. My issue is, do people forget that she is tied for the veto record for single season?
And she didn't do it until the end. That's the craziest
And that's
part.
what's really that's what's frustrating because even you talked me into that because I remember a while ago I was like, "Oh, la la la." And you totally shut me up with that. And like it's an important point I think people need to remember because it's just like she didn't just I mean, I think where people also look at it is she kind of got carried by uh what is it? Oh my god, how did that name just escape me? There's their beautiful six-person alliance name that I just is totally escaping me in the moment.
It's like the
Um holy
successful
shit.
six or
No, and
something. I can't
I've made
remember it
so
now.
many TikToks on it and it's just we're podcasting right now by the way at night so our brains are fried. But while you look it up I will finish my thought. But yeah, I think a lot of people decided that they thought that that she kind of got carried at the beginning by that alliance and that she only started playing late, which is kind of our argument sometimes toward Nicole Franzel. But I just think it's different because Nicole Franzel really kind of plays like I don't think she has nearly as much
Level
Thank
6.
you. Oh my god. All I could think of was S6 because we just watched All Stars and I was like, it's not S6. Who is it? It's level 6. Thank you. Thank you. I'm
To be
so
fair,
stupid.
at one time there was a group called the Sacred Six that season.
Oh, yeah.
Not that
There's but there were so many alliances at the beginning of that
you should
season.
see how many alliances there were that season. This is the best website ever. First of all, it has every alliance from that season. But
So yeah,
level 6 is a all-time big alliance. Like when it comes down to Big Brother, like that is one of the best big alliances cuz like they lasted for so long and they won. Like in the end they won.
I think my problem with them was they had less likable people for me than other like multi-person alliances. You know what I mean? Like Tyler and Casey were really the only ones that I was there where I was like, yeah, I like them. Like I think everybody else I was just kind of like, no, no. And I'm trying to just
Um yeah, that's fair. Like I think people forget that JC actually wasn't in level
I know.
6.
Still,
He
I hate him. I hate him.
he wasn't in level 6. Winston and Rachel were, and they did
Literally,
not
okay,
last.
but this is part of why I don't like level 6. I
I love Tyler. I love Casey. I have very little feeling towards
could
Angela.
not. Angela,
Um,
I'm very
Brett
neutral
made
on.
me laugh a
Oh,
few times.
so I love everything about Brett, but I think there was one thing that really set me off, and then we will go back to our list. But there was one thing that really ticked me off is when he made fun of Caitlyn for like saying she had auras and stuff like that and he's like duh, and I was like that's so mean, like I'm sorry, like I get you're trying to be funny and like my boyfriend still thinks it's freaking hilarious but like it just
I'm
bugs me because it was very
okay.
clearly
So
embarrassing to her and like hurtful to her and as someone who has like had special passions as a child and got mocked in that way, like I just like I understand where he's coming from because it's totally weird and it's like oh this is so stupid but like at the end of the day that's really hurtful and like I think that's where I just kind of got a little ticked off with him because he didn't really seem to care about people's legitimate feelings like and it wasn't a game thing. It wasn't like he was like, "Oh, well, I'm hurting your feelings because I'm playing game." He was being an ass sometimes, and it's like, ugh.
I'm going to play devil's advocate
Go for
here,
it.
though. How do you like Evil Dick then?
That's different in my opinion because that was, I
I
think,
mean, he's still
no,
pretty
so he
mean.
is, but I believe a lot of the meanness was largely strategy. Like,
Yeah, that's
Brett's
fair.
was just being
Brett was just
mean.
being a
Like, that's
bully.
where my issue is, and
Yeah.
that's where I've always made that distinction with Dick. Is I, when it comes to evil Dick, like I'm always defensive of his bullying tactics to a degree because he makes it very clear that they are used to manipulate people. Like, Brett wasn't going in there and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this in front of everybody just to show everyone that she's crazy." It's like he did it because he wanted to embarrass her, and I'm like, not feeling it. That was just a weird cast.
I
So
get that.
but so that's a tough one with Casey.
Um,
Like I
you
am
know,
actually in a weird way going to side with some people, but I know you're gonna not agree because you love Casey.
no, I'm getting the last
Do
word in
it,
here. So back
and
going
then we'll move on.
going back to this cast, what Casey was able to do was put together a game that beat Tyler's game, and I think when it came down to that night, the finale night, I remember being perfectly fine with either of those two winning. The difference here, now here's my comparison of two people that deserve it when someone probably plays a more all-time rounded game. Ready? Dan and Ian Terry. That's where I
That's
compare
fair.
these because to me, I wasn't content with Ian winning that
I
night.
get that.
I thought Dan played a far more masterful game
Interesting.
than Ian that season. However, I feel like Casey played the perfect game for her to win. Now, it's kind of similar the way those two played. They waited till the
Yeah.
end to really put it all together. So if you're telling me Casey's overrated,
Uh-oh.
you might be telling me Ian's overrated. I'm just saying.
um.
Um, but there's only three players from that season that I consider great to all time, and that is Casey, Tyler, and Haley. I will die
I know
on
you'll
the
die on that
hill that
Haley Hill, and
Haley
I
got
so feel
screwed.
that. Well, she also got screwed by Fessy, and now look at where that jackass is. And I will always
Yeah,
call
I
him a
could have told you
jackass and
that.
freaking hate him.
I could have
I
told you
could have
that was
too, and
going to
I don't
happen.
want to
All
play like I
right,
told you so.
we can move
All
on though
right,
if you
though.
want.
But we are now reaching our final two. These are the top two choices. Um, the top vote getter got more than double what the second place person got. I just want to point that out before I reveal the second place person.
This is going to be spicy, and I'm
So
not going to be happy
second
about it.
place, and both of these are going to be spicy. So get ready. I think that I'll talk about it later. Number two, Boogie. Yes, it's going to be Boogie from All Stars, Big Brother 7.
I
I really
respect
do
that.
too.
I
It's
I
spicy
actually
though.
respect
It
that.
is spicy
It
because
is
he's
spicy.
Chilltown.
Now,
I agree with it
now
wholeheartedly though.
I think Boogie's a very good player. I think he's debatably if someone put him in their top 10, I'd be like, I can understand that. I think at one time I had him in my top 10. Maybe
Oh,
I
I
still
still
do.
have him
I
in
don't
my top
remember.
10.
Yeah, like I think I still had him in my top 10. But I
Oh, I
understand the point here.
absolutely do. Absolutely.
If your case against Boogie is that he got carried by Dr. Will,
Yes.
I wouldn't have a difficult time saying, "Yeah, you make a
Yeah.
point. You make a great point." I can understand that one. I don't have actually too much to
Yeah,
say about that. That
I
makes all
agree.
the sense in
So
the
that
world.
was second place. I think what surprised me out of that just was how many people were willing to say that somebody from Chilltown was overrated in their winning. And I'm glad they said that cuz like I really agree with the choice. Obviously I made my own choice, and that was just, I mean, I think there really are a bunch of overrated. I don't know if you can really pick who's more overrated and who's not. Um but I just think this was,
Before you say number
yes.
one, if it's not Nicole Franzel, I'm
It
jumping
is
through the
not
screen.
actually. She is an honorable mention.
What is wrong
She
with
is
you
an honorable
people? What
mention.
is wrong? Okay, okay. You know, I'm gonna be the person against the fans. You could back up the fans. What is wrong with you people? I am going to tear you a new one right now. Nicole Franzel didn't deserve to win that game. There wasn't a single second I thought, you know what? Nicole deserves to win this game. especially when she was going against Paul. I think that was the better version of Paul,
Oh,
to be exact.
absolutely.
Absolutely not. I do not want to hear anything about Nicole Franzel being worth of my time.
All right. With that, our number one vote getter for most overrated Big Brother winner. You can sulk all you want. It's gonna be who it's gonna be, and you gotta get over it. I don't know how you're gonna feel about it though. So our number one choice is Derek from Big Brother 16. Landslide vote here. It was not even close. And I'm gonna just jump in right away and say I very much agree. And he was on my list of overrated people. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little afraid that by saying it, I'd be a little out of touch with some of the newer fans, but apparently not. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to seem like a Big Brother elitist when it comes to this show, but like, he really, as we've talked about in the past, the way he played this game changed this game for the negative, and he really, like a lot of people mentioned in the comments, just played with a bunch of sheep. There were a couple people who totally picked out his game and tried to figure it out. um and it's frustrating, like, and understandably, like, you're not going to see someone's game right away. Sometimes it takes some time, but like, that was too easy a season to skate by through, and I really very much agree with those who voted in favor. Take the floor because I see you
All
boiling
right.
right there.
So I thought about it. When I first heard it, I was like, interesting. Then I thought about it a little more, and I was like, hmm. And I need to take a step back. I need to understand what's going through their minds. So sure, you could say the house guests were sheep. You could say whatever they want. But if Derek's not in there, that's a different game. It's a different game
Absolutely.
from beginning to end. Derek is a top 5 player in Big Brother history, and I don't think that's a debate. But, but, I can agree that he is also overrated
I
at
think
the
that's a
same
very
time.
fair distinction. I don't
I
think they're
think
mutually exclusive. I mean, I think they are. Yeah,
as
you
we
know what I'm
have been
saying.
over, like we discussed in the past, he is not on the level of a Dr. Will
Mm-mm.
or Dan Giesling
No.
or Evil Dick. He's the level below that. He's okay, so actually, we'll probably talk about this at the end of the current season, so I won't actually dig into that too much yet. But right now, to me, he's number 5 all time. You put Janelle in the middle there. She's the only winner in my top 5, that non-winner in
Agreed.
my top 5. Because what Derek did in his game was masterful. Like, it doesn't matter who played with him.
Yep.
It was masterful. But it definitely ruined the game. It ruined Big Brother because that's what everyone goes in with. The only good season we've had, debatably, since 15 is
Hmm.
season 20. That is the only season I will consider a
And
good
I don't
season.
even. It's not even one that I think about. Like, oh, I can't wait to go back and watch because it's just kind of like what's really. I mean, it's great that like
I
Tyler
think
and Casey Blake did so
it's
well.
too reason for me to
Also,
want to
I just feel like
watch.
it's too predictable to watch for me. Like, it's like there are seasons of Survivor that I watch because I'm like, oh, I can't even remember how like this vote goes, or like I can't remember how like the order of how these people go out. Like, you can remember the end, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this is the final four, but I can't remember how they get there. And rewatching, it's like a joy because you're like, oh yeah, maybe it is because it's too
Okay,
recent, but I just worry that
yeah, I was gonna
but
say it's
I just
probably too
worry that it's
recent.
something that like I don't know if I'll ever want to go back to watch regularly because it's just like what they go and run. I know Tyler and Casey run the game, and like they weren't ever really ever in danger, and I think that's the thing with like, well,
Tyler was in
at
danger
one
at one
point,
point.
once, like like Evil
Once,
Dick was
yeah.
always
I
in
mean,
danger. Danielle Donato, Danielle
well,
Brions,
here's
she was
here's
always
the
in
thing.
danger. Like these good players, Janelle was
We
always in danger. Like there was no danger factor.
well, we've went into very very serious detail in the past that the Big Brother game is a
Yeah,
mess nowadays. Like
granted.
what a good season once was is not achievable anymore. It's
I wish it
simply
wasn't
not,
true, but I do agree.
because we've had so many games be played that it's almost impossible to ever get to the greatness of a season 2, a season
Season
8,
7. Oh,
a
yeah.
season 7. You'll never get you'll never get that many great players in a season 7
Or 10.
all-star
Like,
type
we're
season again.
rewatching 10,
We
and,
had
like, it's not
all-stars
like they're
last
all,
year.
like, crazy, like, all-star kind of players, but they're all entertaining as
I think
hell.
season 10
They're
is
all
incredible though.
entertaining as hell. They all have
Yeah.
great personalities where it's like, and even, like, there are people
Mhm.
where it's like, my favorite thing is you love to love them one week, hate them the next week, and it's like, "Oh, I don't know who I even enjoy watching anymore," because you're always just kind of flip-flopping because the game's so interesting. It's just
Right.
used to be a lot more dynamic, and I
Yeah.
feel like the Derek era really was the downfall of the strategy of the game, where it was just that if somebody got that main control and they were able to sustain it, it was game over for everybody else.